Hello out there. Welcome back once again. We're still on statistics and we're looking at calculations of correlations. Okay, hope you're ready out there with your pen and paper. And let's look what do we have. Okay, so this part we're going to look at whether, given a scatter plot, does a correlation exist? How can we tell if correlation exists? Okay, so we do know that the correlation is between -1 and 1. And if correlation is 0, there's no correlation. Okay, if correlation is 1, we have a perfect correlation, positive perfect correlation. And if correlation is -1, it's a perfect negative correlation. Okay, great. So let's see now. So we have this scatter plot. We have our y-axis there and our axis there. And we have points on that Cartesian plane, which is a scatter plot. Does correlation exist? Do you think it exists by looking at this? Okay, I think it does. Is this a negative or a positive? Is that a strong or weak? If it's strong correlation, can you quantify the value? Can you give me the value, the number? Is it 0.5, 0.6, approximately that, 0.9? So we know that it's positive because we can draw a straight line with a positive gradient because the slope, m, is bigger than 0. We're talking about the slope here. It's positive. Going up, so it's positive. Okay, let's see. So this is strong positive correlation. So the correlation is approximately 0.9. Okay, would you have guessed that? What is your guess? Okay, I think I could have guessed 0.8. I could have went to 0.8, but the correct actually is 0.9. What if you got 0.8? Yeah, that's pretty close. That's okay. Okay. Okay, great, if you guessed that. Now let's look at the second one. Let's look at this one. What is your guess? Look at this correlation. We have all the scatter plot given to us. Does a correlation exist? Just ask yourself first. I think it does exist. If it does exist, is that a positive, negative? And what is the value of the correlation? By looking at this, I can draw a straight line and the slope or the gradient is bigger than 0, meaning positive. So it's a positive correlation. Okay? What is the value? Do you want to guess? Is that a perfect? Definitely not perfect. 0.5? I don't think so. What do you think? 0.6? 0.7? Okay? So let's see what we have here. So we have fairly positive, we do agree, but fairly strong. And the correlation coefficient, it's approximately 0.7. Were you close to your guess? Was that close to 0.7? What if you guessed 0.65, 0.66? That's okay. That's acceptable. It's approximately 0.7. Okay? The answer is not unique. Okay? Doesn't mean all of you must come with close to 0.7. 0.66 is fine. 0.7 is fine. 0.69 is fine. Okay? As long as you're close to that value, the 0.7, that's okay. Let's look at the next one. We have our scatter plot given here. If I have to draw the equation of a line, I'll still draw a straight line with a positive gradient. So it's a positive correlation. But what about the value? Okay? Or do you think there's no correlation? I think there is correlation. Because there's a trend going up, I can draw a straight line, which is clustered around those points. What is your value? 1 can't be 1 because 1 is perfect correlation. All the points must be on a line. 0.9? No, because 0.9 is strong. 0.8 is still strong. 0.8 is weak. 0.6, I mean weak. What can we go with that? Let's see. I would like you to think of a number. Okay, let's see what we have. So this is positive, we agree positive, weak, and the correlation is approximately 0.4. What if you got 0.45? Yep. What if you got 0.38? Yes, that's close to 0.4. That would be acceptable. Okay. Now let's look at more. What about this? So I can draw a straight line, but with a negative gradient. What about your correlation? I think this is negative, but strong. What is your value? I'd like you to guess your value. Negative 0.9? Negative 0.8? Let's see what we have. So we have negative, and this is fairly strong, approximately negative 0.7. That's the correlation coefficient. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Interesting one. Is there no correlation here? Is there no correlation? I think there is. It does exist. Positive or negative? Negative, because I can get a straight line with a negative gradient, negative slope. What is the correlation out there? Is it negative? We know it's negative. Negative 0.5, negative 0.6. Let's see what we have. So we have negative. We agree it's a negative. It's negative, weak correlation, and the correlation coefficient is approximately negative 0.4. Do we expect you to get negative 0.4 on the dot? No. Do you have something close to negative 0.4? Yes. If you have something close to that, that's okay. Because we're saying it's approximately close to negative 0.4. Okay. So, and what about this one now? Can I fit a line? Can I go up, down? Can I fit a line going up, down? Or is there correlation? I don't think there's a negative correlation or positive correlation. I don't think there's a correlation there. What do you think? Okay, so here we have no correlation at all. So the correlation coefficient will be 0. Okay, there's no correlation between x and y in this case. Fantastic. Now let's look at our summary on correlation. So we say we have this positive correlation, negative correlation, and the strength of the correlation. Okay. So no correlation is when correlation is 0. Are we all together? Very weak correlation. Very weak correlation can be, remember, can be positive or can be negative. Very weak if it's from 0 to 0.25. 0 to 0.25, that's very weak. Okay? And if it's negative, negative 0.5 to 0, also that'll be negative but very weak correlation. And what about 0.5 to 0.25? That is weak. So we have very weak, then weak. But you have positive and negative. That will be negative 0.5 to negative 0.25. There will be anything, there will be weak negative correlation. And we also have moderate. Moderate is 0.5 to 0.75. Also can be negative. So this would be negative moderate correlation. Are we together? If R is between minus 0.75 to negative 0.5. Then our strong positive correlation, 0.75 to 0.9, that is our strong correlation, okay? Positive but negative will be negative 0.9 to negative 0.75. That will be negative strong correlation. But very strong. What is very strong? Very strong, guys, we're talking about 0.9 to 1. That's very strong correlation. Or also if it's negative, between negative 1 and 0.9, that will be strong negative correlation. And lastly, perfect correlation, which is 1, which is positive perfect correlation, and negative 1. Those are our two perfect correlation. Okay, guys, now we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to look at actually how do we really calculate this correlation? Okay? How do we calculate this using our calculator or using a formula or something like that? I hope to see you after the break with more statistics.